Hello, everybody. This is Peggy at the Flower Nook. Good to see you again. Hope life has been treating you kind. We're still in the crazy, crazy, crazy 2020. When will it end? That's the question of my current conversation. So we're back at the Flower Nook, and we're doing a wonderful interview with a brand new artist that we just this week got in the store. So I want to introduce you and welcome to your company called the Robin Hood Rocks. Now, just a reminder to people that have maybe never even seen one of our videos or perhaps been in the store, the Flower Nook, been in town for 39 years. And of course, we are a full service florist, which we are very proud of. But we also are very involved in the art community, supporting artists in several different ways, whether it's committee work or doing different projects. But we have been bringing artists, artisans, into the store for about 5 years. We do call them artisans because we believe that artisans speak to a creative process, and the creative process can be anything that you're passionate about. It can be a collecting, it can be a sewing project, it can be a painting, it can be jewelry. It doesn't have to be a fine arts, hanging on the wall process. So you see Joyce's photo, and we also are going to say hello, Joyce. How are you doing, Joyce?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I'm glad, so thankful for you that you come on in the middle of the day and in the safety of your own home. It's good to see you, and going to be great to talk to you. I got to tell you, Joyce, that it's hard for me to say Robin Hood Rocks and then say Joyce, because when I first heard this article, and I'm going to let you talk a little about it, it was way back in the paper about your wonderful project, painting rocks and hiding them. And I did hear Robin Hood Rocks, so I always thought your name was Robin Hood. And then when we made contact and I'm talking to someone named Joyce, I'm like, who is Joyce? Who's Joyce? I'm supposed to be talking to Robin. Where's the Joyce? So tell me about the name. How did it happen?
Well, there's a couple of different ways we have a connection with Robin Hood. We raised our kids on Robin Road, so that's their neighborhood. So that was most of it. And then also, the whole time the kids were growing up, we had a family member that owned a cabin in New Mexico in the Manzano Mountains. And this cabin was in Sherwood Forest, and the cabin was on Nottingham Road.
Mm.
So that's been our happy place the whole time the kids were growing up. That's where we spend all our vacations and their favorite place to go. So that's how Robin Hood Rocks came about.
Well, interesting. And have you ever painted a Robin Hood rock?
You mean one that says Robin Hood Rocks?
Or that has the photo of, or, you know, like a trademark, let me just say, of your name, or?
No, I never have. That makes me think, though, I could someday when up at the Sherwood Forest. Actually, there was a really bad forest fire years ago that burned everything down to the ground. And there was a huge green over arch gate that you went through to go into the Sherwood Forest. And that burned also, but they've rebuilt it. So now it's back again. So I could do a rock with the Robin Hood Rocks on the gate.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I kind of remember. So the article in the paper talked about what you were doing, and I don't remember what month this was in. It was quite a while ago. So the art of hiding rocks. So give me some kind of feel for what happens here.
Well, it started when COVID hit, and we're all staying home a lot more, and I didn't have much to do. Apparently, my son thought I didn't. So he suggested that I could start painting rocks and we could hide them, kind of like a random rock of kindness type of thing, because people always smile when they find one. And so I started painting, and I think maybe I painted more than he anticipated, because I contribute to his exercise, because he comes and loads up his backpack full of rocks, and he rides his bike a lot. And so on his bike rides, he stops all over town and hides them.
Yeah. So it is a purposeful hiding as far as your placing. You're not just, tossing it where it lands. You're actually positioning it is it where the pretty side is up?
I think that's how he puts them. And we always make sure that they're not hidden any place where a mower's going to hit it, or any place
Oh,
where people would have to disturb the landscaping to get
yeah.
it. And so, if, you know, along hiking trails, in the parks, down along the dike where people are hiking, uh, just, and we have quite a few people now that when they're going out of town, they'll ask if they can take some rocks with them, and we'll load them up and they hide them wherever they're going.
Oh yeah, it's such a wonderful concept. And um, I was telling you a little earlier, I came across a gentleman who said they found a rock at Lakewood, and he couldn't remember because what he did was regift it, and he
Uh-huh.
regifted it. You're going to think this is hilarious. He regifted it in a convenience store bathroom on the back of the toilet, you know, thing.
Yeah.
And he said he had more fun figuring out where to rehide it than when he discovered it, because he kept thinking, well, why is it here? And is it some kind of a party? You know, have I taken someone's, you know, something or other? It was a great story. It just a really a interesting story about it. So now when you first started this, you asked people to send you photographs of them finding a rock, or what did?
Yeah, each of our rocks, we put a tag on the back of it that's sealed in with the resin that seals the rock, so everything's weatherproof. But we put a tag on there that says keep or rehide, and then please post to our Robin Hood Rocks page on Facebook, and you know, just post a picture if you want to of yourself or the rock, and tell us where you hit it or where you found it. And most people will say whether they're going to keep it or rehide it, and whichever they want to do is completely fine. I'm happy when they want to keep one, and it's fun when they want to rehide it. So
Yeah. So I know a lot about art, and but I don't know about painting rocks. So what supplies or what medium do you need to start this project?
well, I use acrylic paints, which actually I had a lot of paints left over from my ceramic days when I was using acrylics, and so I use those, and I have enough paint to last a lifetime, because a girl can never have enough. So I have all sorts of acrylic paints, and I paint them with acrylic, and then I put a coat of Mod Podge on them, and that kind of puts a sealer, but it's not waterproof. And then I coat them with art resin, which you have to mix the resin and the hardener
Mm,
together.
okay.
And then I coat them with that, and that gives them a really glossy, totally weatherproof seal on them. So it's basically, if I paint hard all day, I can get 4 rocks done, but then it takes another day for the paint to cure, and then a third day to get it resined and ready to go. So it's a 3 to 4 day process.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Now, it was interesting that I heard you say ceramics, and that makes sense to me because when we show the rocks, people will see that the fine detail, a ceramic painter has the love of the small brush because it's, you know, they're little things, that accents that make us a good ceramics painter. So now that you said that, that makes sense to me because your rocks are very small, detailed, orientated.
That's
So,
my favorite type of painting, is the very meticulous, tiny detail that takes forever. That's me.
That, yeah, that's what I'm thinking now that you said ceramic. So it's been a few folder pictures here of some rocks you've painted, and I do need to say to our public, and maybe your sister if she's watching, on that top picture there's 2 rocks that she has painted, and the rest of them are of course from you. So since we talked about your sister, were you both painting rocks at the same time, or?
Yeah, my sister's Jeannie Bell, and actually she's a porcelain artist. She spent years making beautiful porcelain dolls, and she's also a seamstress. So she made all the clothes for the dolls and did amazing work. But she used to live in Houston. Now she's back here in Salina, and we're both retired. So she helps paint rocks. And actually, in that picture, the dragonfly and the K-State rock, those are hers.
Okay. So and then the other ones are yours. And we're looking at a photo that I'm assuming it might be where your magic takes place there, on your desk there.
Yeah, when I started painting the rocks, I just kind of started at this little desk in the bedroom, and things kept growing from there, and that's my painting space now.
Well, I'm so impressed with your organization of your paint because as a florist, we tend to be a little sloppy. We just kind of, here's this 15 cans of something, something. This is very organized for, um, your space station there for.
Yeah, because I have such a small space, it has to stay organized.
Well, and you don't need a lot, when you're painting individually. Do you ever paint two at a time, or is it you stay with one till it's done, or?
No, I usually have 3 or 4 going at a time, because then you can set one aside while the paint dries and work on another one and trade back and forth.
Okay, so just in looking at some of these images here, it looks like we've got whimsical, and looks like we've got some really serious pattern pieces we're going to talk about a little. Do you have a favorite?
I really like painting mandalas. I originally saw the dot art painting when I was painting ceramics down at On the Pot. I saw a video of Elspeth McLean, who's a famous dot artist, and I tried it with ceramics. But the glaze paint is, with the dot art painting, the paint has to be the right texture in order for it to work. And the glaze was a little too thin to work well with it. So as I experimented and find the right kind of paint and the right textures and stuff, I've gotten better at it.
So does this type of rock here, and these are some of the ones you have painted, do you create a pattern first and then stencil it on your rock, or how does it happen?
Actually, these rocks in the picture I make my own rocks now that are especially good for making the mandalas, because they're totally smooth, and I use a cement mortar mix, and I have silicone molds that I pour the cement mixture in there, and it sets up, and then when I pop it out, it's like that and ready to paint. So that makes it handy, because that way I always have perfectly smooth, nice rocks to work on. I never imagined there'd come a day when I would be obsessed with finding the perfect rock, but I have. And I have purchased rocks from Mexico and Alaska, and the Alaska rocks are actually the very best. They're like this one. They're a little flatter, and they're very smooth, and usually they're pretty round, and so I really like those. I have bought some landscaping rocks here in town, because I found myself driving around town and coveting people's landscape when I would see nice rocks there. So we have gone to the landscaping place and found we can get them $10 for a bucket of rocks. And so anyway, I just use a variety of different rocks to paint on, and different designs work well on different rocks.
Yeah. So the mandala, if I'm saying it correctly, type of pattern, and I took this right off the dictionary, so I'm hoping it's correct. It says that sometimes there's symbolism attached to each pattern, and often a meditative, meaning. So do you, such as what we're looking at here, is there some, are these named a certain pattern that you know of, or?
No, they're just, some of them are patterns that I've, seen, and some of them are ones that I've come up with myself. This is a Christmas one that I've been working on, that I kind of just made that one up myself.
Very fun.
And I do have a template that goes with my silicone rock mold, that it fits right over the mold, and I use a chalk pencil, a white chalk pencil, to trace the pattern on, and then it's just, you have perfect lines so that it's all symmetrical, and you can keep it all even.
So now what I've learned about you, Joyce, is that this painting rocks, which already was a very complicated, now you have told me that you are a cement pourer and mixer, and now you're also doing some stencil projects. This has expanded quite a bit since what I really thought was, of a painting of a rock process. So here's another couple of photos of, I think, some of the whimsical one. And then these girls, I believe that you told me that they either sent you the picture or that you knew those girls, or.
This was a really neat story. It started out, someone that my son knows that's from Oberlin, they were going back there for a visit one weekend, and Tanner sent some rocks with them, and they hid them around Oberlin, and a lot of people really liked it. But then these little girls, their mother had messaged me and said that they were trying so hard to find a rock. She said her little girl was so excited about what she called the treasure hunt. And she told me all the places they had looked and they never did. In the end, they didn't find a rock. And so I messaged her back and told her I'd make a deal with her. I wanted to send some rocks up there for a couple of special friends of mine. And if she would agree to hide those rocks for them, I would paint extra rocks for her girls and then rocks for them to hide. And so I sent up, I think maybe 10 rocks up there. And so the girls became our little rock elves. And they had a lot of fun doing it. This picture in the tree, they were at the city park hiding a rock there. And it's just been a lot of fun with them. I told them at Christmas time, I'm going to send Christmas rocks up there for them to hide too.
Fun for them. I think that is a great pastime, and it might even make me get out and walk a little on my exercise routine if I had a few, maybe I could hide a few rocks. I think that's really maybe we should think of that as like a part of my exercise world.
Well, and you missed a perfect opportunity, because when we very first started these, when you asked me about the rocks, Tanner hid a rock in your front planter that has a plant in it.
He said that, yeah. And I don't know, we never did see it, so I'm wondering.
Well, we peeked in it the other day, and Tanner moved all the foliage back, and apparently somebody else found it before you did.
Well, I'm feeling better about that, because I thought, gosh, I hope we just did, out of sight, out of mind kind of a thing, and look at that. Unfortunately, those planters get to have everything in it, from cups from the Burger King to cigarette butts to, so I do try to go out there, but pretty regularly, and do the KP. But
well, I hope nobody traded you a cigarette butt for a rock, but that could have happened.
That might have been a good trade-off for it. Well, we see a couple more fun rocks, and these are some of them that we got down to the store. So, we do have rocks at the store, and hoping that people come down and take a look and see and enjoy it. This one we put up in a little frame to show people that it works very nice to stand up, and they're flat enough, like you said, that they just pretty well fit there perfectly. So now, do you have some future goals? Are you done painting rocks? How are you feeling about it?
One thing I really would like to get better at is painting flowers. Those sunflowers, I had a friend ask me to make her a sunflower, and I really hesitated because I've never painted flowers and I didn't know if I could do it. But then that's what I came up with, and she liked it, so I painted a few more. But I've always been so fascinated with people that can paint pansies and all sorts of different flowers, and they look really realistic. That's what I'd like to learn to do.
Well, I think these look pretty good, and you even have the shadowing in the leaves structure, so that's a pretty wonderful process. You had mentioned something to me when we were talking earlier about other ways of you kind of having your love hiding rocks, with other people helping you hide rocks. So talk to me a little about the school and maybe the nursing home, and how that might extend out.
We had a teacher from Solomon had asked if we could paint the Solomon gorilla mascot on a rock, and their plan was to hide it in different rooms in the school throughout the school year so the kids could find it and rehide it. And so we did that, and the little girls from Oberlin, they were going to see if they could hide them at the nursing home there. And in there, they have a indoor courtyard area where the residents could find it and rehide it, and somebody else find it. So I think that's a really cool idea.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be exciting to find the rock with it? And there's nothing, so it seems like you're kind of doing a seasonal, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and will you do a Valentine's?
Yeah, I plan ahead. I'm doing winter rocks right now, and then pretty soon I'll start looking for Valentine's ideas and then Mother's Day, and just kind of plan ahead so that I have rocks out there hidden or in the store ready for every holiday.
Yeah. So now, because you made mention of the school mascot and that kind of thing, I think I need to make sure I allow you the option to say yes or no, because it makes it sound like maybe people can call you and say, you know, I want 20 for my wedding party, or I want, is that,
Well, like the mascot things, I avoid painting anything that's copyrighted or another artist's work. Um,
okay.
if I'm going to sell it, if I'm just giving it away, I paint whatever I see.
Okay.
And so the gorilla mascot, I felt like that would be okay. I didn't sell it. And let's see, I was trying to think what else you asked me.
Well, it was, you know, would you take a custom order if someone said, I want 20 for a wedding, or, you know, I don't want to invite people to tomorrow be bombarded with people calling and saying, I saw you and will you make me? And
I have had quite a few people ask for that. And I've had to turn the last few down because I've been busy trying to get an inventory for the store and everything. And at this point, I'll just refer them to the store. I did agree for my niece because she's the most loving person in the world. She's getting married next summer. And she asked if Jeannie, my sister, and I would paint rocks for her wedding for the reception tables. So we are going to paint a bunch of rocks for her wedding.
yeah, it's, you know, it lends itself to so many, that's a perfect thing, a wedding gift, you know, or when the farmers co-ops come to town, you know, with the sprig of wheat. I mean, I just can see so many wonderful uses for, you know, a rock that you could kind of come home with, and with an artisan project. Well, Joyce, thank you so much for taking time in the middle of your day, and more so, thank you for allowing the shop to have your rocks. I'm anxious for you, the public, to see them. They are beautiful. And there's something very soothing about holding them. I don't know if it's the shape. You know, I'm going to have to do some investigating about that whole process. You know, you find yourself kind of stroking them, and you know, it's just a different feel, but they are wonderful, and I think you'll be real excited about seeing them. I want everybody to run down immediately or tomorrow, whatever way works your schedule, and take a look at them. So Joyce, thank you again, you know, for allowing the shop to have them, and we're very proud to have a regional artisan right here from Salina into the storefront with it. So,
Well, thank you for taking my stuff. I just love to paint, and it gives me more chance to paint.
well, it's a great hobby, and if it makes you happy, which is really, you know, about the paint, I want people to realize that an an artisan does, because not because he's trying to get rich, because goodness knows that will never be the outcome. But it's because, you know, you have that creativity, entrepreneurship, and you have to share it, you know, with people to keep you on an even case. So yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful art, and it's such a wonderful mission that you've been. Do you have any idea how many you have hidden?
Well, when they did the newspaper article, they asked me how many I'd painted, and I just off the top of my head, I was thinking maybe about 100. But then my husband goes, no, because he counted up how many I've purchased from Alaska and Mexico and everywhere else, and how many I've made, and I'm closing in on 300 probably.
Wow, that's a lot of rocks. How wonderful. How wonderful. Well, I'm hoping that everybody wants to have a rock underneath their tree or for someone's present. So um, once again, we thank you. Thank you so very much, Joyce, for coming on and talking to us. It's just been a delight to hear about your process with it. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.